So yesterday on the channel, we of course made a video. I say we, it was just me, talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 situation and the recent leaks that we have gotten, or at least the rumors that we have gotten, and how Nintendo President Furukawa pretty much stop them, put an end to them, at least in his mind, as far as what is happening. He denied the Gamescom behind closed doors presentation that so many major websites reported on as being a factually true event. He also put the kibosh on a dual screen patent that we had seen, basically saying they designed that patent with the intent of people probably seeing it, but it is just simply a patent. Now, I think that's fair to say with the dual screen patent, but I'm still kind of unsure about the whole leaked behind closed doors presentation not actually happening. Like, I just can't imagine that we're at this point with the Nintendo Switch where there was no sort of event like that. Nobody actually has a development kit for this or knows anything about the power of the system, and that's just going to remain to be seen when we will learn more about that. I made a full video on it yesterday, like I said. Be sure to go check that out to get my in-depth thoughts and analysis on it, but we have some more stuff to talk about today, because I feel like some people are taking a screenshot maybe a bit out of context. And as the video goes on, I'm going to be real with you, we're getting very tinfoil hat stuff here. But I don't know. I think I can make a case for this based on some things that are said by Nintendo themselves. So we're taking a look at the information that was revealed during the latest briefing by Nintendo. There's 64 pages of it. We're going to look through all 64 pages of this so I can get that sweet ad revenue. I'm just kidding. You can look through these yourself. I will have a link to it in the description box down below, but there are some interesting statements and interesting graphs that I want to focus on that kind of are painting a picture about backwards compatibility. Now, I've never been against backwards compatibility. I want the system to have backwards compatibility, but I also realize that there's not a chance. Well, evidently, there's sort of a gotcha moment within these slides that a lot of people are pointing to and being like, hey, this is proof of backwards compatibility. And it happens to be right here on slide 36, basically talking about the Nintendo account, supporting long-term relationships with our consumers, with purchase history, save data, friends, and experience data. Scrolling down, you can see here that it says prior to the introduction of Nintendo account, it was not easy to maintain users' information across platform generations, including details such as software purchases and gameplay records. The introduction of Nintendo account made it possible to tie a user's history to their personal account. This will be the foundation upon which Nintendo can maintain a lasting relationship with consumers. So, obviously, stuff like friends and experience data, that's not a big deal, but save data and purchase history, that's really piqued a lot of people's interest, because they're reading this as, well, what would be the point of talking about purchase history and save data for a system that we currently have right now on this new system if that new system was not a backwards compatible system? And I say that that's not a bad line of logic to use and a bad train of thought, but to that I say, maybe it's not in the conventional way that we're thinking of, because as we scroll along down here, we see they talk about Nintendo Switch Online related things. They give some updated statistics for how many people have signed up for Nintendo Switch Online. Now, as you see here on slide number 51, they start to talk about Nintendo Switch Online. Over 38 million members, the various services that are available, and of course, games like F-Zero 99, to which they say, we continue to offer new ways for users to enjoy Nintendo Switch over the long term by expanding the content available through Nintendo Switch Online, an online service that makes Nintendo Switch even more fun and convenient. As of the end of September, the number of paid Nintendo Switch Online and Switch Online Plus expansion pack members totaled more than 38 million accounts. F-Zero 99, which just released in September as a members-only title, is being enjoyed by many people. So if we're transferring save data and we're transferring information and we're transferring, purchase history and things of that nature, as we discussed here on slide 36, wouldn't that be applicable to the online as well? Because the thought mantra going forward is, hey, with this new system, whatever the system is going to be, we're not going to lose the NES and the Super NES and the Genesis games, all of those games that we already have on our system, we're not going to lose those games. And that would be something that would potentially carry over. And that would sort of clarify what the save data was about. Purchase history could be your purchase history of a Nintendo Online account. So I'm not trying to negate the whole or downplay the whole backwards compatibility thing, but I just don't think that this is a clear enough indicator to say 100% that backwards compatibility is going to be a part of this system. But there's something that's kind of been lingering in my mind about this, and the more I kind of look into stuff like this, the more they talk about systems and system sales and game sales and whatnot. I kind of come up with an idea here that's actually like an older idea, but you know, follow me on this. So slide 53. New titles will continue to be released for Nintendo Switch. New titles will continue to be released for Nintendo Switch going forward. Okay, you know, no big deal. There's some holiday titles, there's some software that was published, some upcoming software, there's more software coming out. The future outlook, though. Nintendo Switch will enter its 8th year. New titles will continue to be released. Maintain and expand user engagement with Nintendo Switch, maintaining business momentum. Nintendo Switch will be entering in its 8th year. We will continue to release new titles and content for Nintendo Switch without being bound by the traditional concept of the platform lifecycle. Going forward, we would like to continue to see many consumers play Nintendo Switch and maintain our business momentum. What I want to focus in on here is that we will continue to release new titles and content for Nintendo Switch without being bound by the traditional concept of the platform lifecycle. This kind of, to me, and now we're in tinfoil hat territory, so if you just wanted the information that's out there, you've gotten it, you know, thank you for visiting the video. But this, to me, almost harkens back to a situation that we thought we were going to have, and by all accounts was allegedly a thing until COVID hit, and then Nintendo pivoted and went in a different direction. I, of course, am talking about the fabled, always talked about Nintendo Switch Pro system. Now, that would allow you to continue to make games for the Nintendo Switch, but you also get better performance out of things. You know, maybe there's games that only work on the Pro model, and you know, but there's games that will also work on both models and stuff like that. Like, I don't really know where my train of thought is going with this, but what if they don't do a traditional life cycle? What if they don't do something like that and they do the incremental upgrade, which is something that I have said this entire time should be the move? Look at cell phones and how, you know, you get these incremental upgrades, and if you want the additional features, you want the additional power and the ability to play certain games on this, you know, stronger hardware, you have that option. But if you don't care and you're good with what you got, you can keep what you got. And I feel like that's a way to break the traditional platform life cycle. You know, these cell phones, these computers that come out, you know, every year or every 2 years or something like that. I'm not saying that that's what Nintendo should do, but what's the point in abandoning the Switch model and the Switch concept? If you have an enhanced Nintendo Switch system that plays games better and makes games run better, whether it's through artificial intelligence, DLSS, which that's the whole point of DLSS, mind you. But if that's what's catapulting this and making it so that the games run better, and it's only available on this, like, you see what I'm getting at here? You see what I'm getting at here? Is Nintendo going to abandon, essentially, the traditional console life cycle where they come out with a new, you know, a Switch 2 or something like that, and it's like, okay, well, this is the new system, you know, this is the brand new system, it's the next version of our old system? Or can they make something supplemental? And I think that's a very interesting conversation, not only just for what it would mean for the generation, but what it would mean for system sales or something like that. Because if you're doing, think of it like this, Nintendo categorizes Game Boy and Game Boy Color sales as one system. And in reality, the Game Boy Color is way stronger, does color, it's just a more powerful system overall. But it still plays your Game Boy games, but it has its own library of games as well. You see what I'm getting at here? You see what I'm saying? I'm saying it's very tinfoil hat, folks. Don't go running off telling your friends that this is going to be the move. But I think it could potentially be the move with this. And that way you still have the same generation going on. The Game Boy lasted for freaking ever. Like, that thing was available forever, and they were making games for Game Boy. They were making games for Game Boy Color. They were living in harmony. You know, we talked about that with the Castlevania Legends game that just came out on Nintendo Switch Online. That was a super late release for the original Game Boy. The Game Boy Color was already out, but companies were still making games for that system because they wanted the larger demographic of people. If you had a Game Boy Color, you could play any Game Boy game plus a Game Boy Color game. And then I guess that kind of harkens back to backwards compatibility, because I think if that's the move that you do, that's genius. And that's what you should have been focused on with this system. And hopefully, you know, because that's a win-win for everyone. That is a win-win. You get the stronger system out there that plays games better and has its own library of games, but it's still compatible with the old system. Companies can still make some projects, smaller projects for the older system, but then they can utilize the power of this newer system, but it's still the same sort of system. It's still classified as the same system. I don't know. Just a little food for thought there. Just a little speculation. Like I said, it's like Hulkamania on this channel. Speculation running wild. But I think that's very interesting. I think that's a very interesting talking point. And, you know, you're kind of reading between the lines a bit, but if you read between the lines, you know, maybe that's what the move is going to be. I guess we'll find out next year. I'm sure we'll talk about things once again. Still waiting for Eurogamer and other places to refute and rebuttal what President Furukawa said. I'm not holding my breath, but hopefully they do say something. Let me know what you think of this in the comments section down below, though. Do you think that this is a confirmation of backwards compatibility, or do you see this more so as just saying, you know, your online account stuff, your games and your saves for the NES games and stuff, they're going to transfer over? And what do you think about this non-traditional, the traditional concept of the platform lifecycle going by the wayside? Do you think that could mean something a bit more, or am I just looking far too deep into this? Because I mean, it's a 50-50 chance on that, boys. Like, I could just be, you know, jumping off the deep end here with my tinfoil hat on, sticking it into the microwave, electrocuting myself. Who knows? Who knows? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share the video, dislike the video. I don't care. Just do some sort of interaction with it. I appreciate every single one of you. Today was a tough day. I'm filming this on Wednesday. I'm not on camera just because I don't really feel like being on camera. We buried my godfather today. It was a very nice service, a very brief service, but a very nice service. And then all the family went out to eat at a local Italian joint. So it was a good time. It was a good time and a good way to say goodbye. And I didn't want to put this at the start of the video because, I don't know, I feel like most people, you know, they got their own problems to worry about. But thank you guys for the support. I love all of you, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.